Two friends travel to Croatia for a weekend getaway, but one weekend turns to tragedy when one of them disappears without a trace. This is The Weekend Away. Enjoy your viewing. Beth is visiting her best friend in Croatia from London for the weekend and is helped to get there by a local taxi driver, Zane, who leaves his business card in case she needs a taxi again. Kate's friend has rented a luxury apartment with her ex-husband's money. The girls enjoy champagne, and Kate gives Beth a black onyx necklace, from which one bead immediately falls off. After talking to Beth's husband, Rob, who stayed in London with their young daughter, the friends go out for a night of fun. On the way, they meet the owner of Kate's apartment, Sebastian. Kate confesses that she is now spending the money of her ex-husband, Jay, whom she caught cheating on her, and now enjoys life with different guys. Beth says that she and her husband are having a difficult relationship and he hasn't been around for a year. When it turns out that Kate's ex-husband has blocked her credit card, Beth pays the bill, explaining to her friend that she will pay her back. Zane gives the girls a ride to the bar where they plan to find boyfriends. On the way, he tells them that he has fled the war in Syria, and Beth replies that she used to help Syrian refugees with resettlement. At the bar, the friends meet two handsome men who treat them to cocktails. Then Kate invites everyone to continue the party at her apartment. Beth wakes up the next day at noon, not remembering anything. She sees traces of the party, but Kate is not in the apartment. Her friend does not answer her calls. Rob wonders if they had a fight and assumes that Kate will show up soon. Beth turns to Sebastian, but he hasn't seen Kate either. He reminds her that it is forbidden to bring guests to the apartment, and now she will have to pay a fine. Beth turns to the police, but the detective says that they will be able to take up the case only in 24 hours, because Kate may show up on her own. Beth then calls Zane and asks him to take her to the bar where they were last night. There she tries to get some information from the bartender, but is unsuccessful. Zane helps her question the bartender, and it turns out that the two guys were local call boys, Matteo and Luca, who were apparently hired by Kate. At night, Beth calls her husband and warns him that she will be staying in Croatia because she wants to find a friend, although Rob does not like it. Later, Beth finds the same two men on social media and tells Zane about it. The taxi driver arranges a meeting with them, pretending to be a client. At the meeting, one of the men admits that he and Kate broke up at 3 in the morning and that her purse was pawned. Beth takes the purse and goes to the police. Zane asks her not to mention him to avoid problems with his visa. The detective is surprised to learn that his colleague did not accept the report of the girl's disappearance. He starts an investigation and sends Beth for a medical examination to make sure she hasn't been drugged or taken advantage of. Beth calls Kate's ex, Jay, but he says he hasn't spoken to her in 2 weeks. He adds that this kind of sudden disappearance is her style, so there is no reason to worry. When Beth returns to the apartment, she realizes that the lease is up, but Sebastian offers her another apartment. At night, Beth is going to go searching for Kate again, with Zane, but suddenly her husband arrives, saying that he left his daughter at home with a nanny. The taxi driver leaves, and Rob scolds his wife for wanting to get into the car of her friend's potential kidnapper. But when Beth loses her nerve, he begins to calm her down. Soon the couple learns that Kate has been found. Her body was found in the water, but without an autopsy, it is not yet possible to determine whether she drowned herself or was murdered. Beth stays in the city to wait for the results of the investigation into her friend, while her distraught husband returns to London. In the evening, Beth asks the detective to take her to the morgue to say goodbye to Kate. Left alone with her friend's body, she uses Kate's face to unlock her smartphone. Later, Beth unexpectedly finds out that Kate was arguing on the phone with Rob in the restaurant. In addition, the smartphone contains love letters between her husband and Kate. At the end of the correspondence, Kate insisted that Rob divorce his wife. The next news is even more shocking. The same drug was found in the blood of both girls, but Matteo and Luca have an ironclad alibi for the time of the tragedy. Visitors to the bar saw a quarrel between Beth and Kate. Beth recalls that they really argued about continuing the party in the apartment with two guys. Because of this, Beth herself becomes one of the suspects. She tells Zane everything and begins to realize that Kate might have slipped her the drug to provoke her to cheat on her husband. When Rob calls her, she immediately tells him that she knows about his relationship with Kate. He has to confess everything. In the morning, Beth is unexpectedly arrested. The police show her a photo of her with Zane. It turns out that Zane is connected to an Albanian mafia involved in human trafficking. The investigation suggests that Beth hired Zane to kill Kate, who was her husband's mistress. Beth is released from custody by her lawyer, who immediately warns her that this is only temporary, as the police do not yet have enough evidence against her. Returning to the apartment, Beth finds Zane there, whom he says Sebastian let in. The man tells her that he was a doctor in Syria and saved the life of an Albanian boy. His father helped Zane illegally move to Croatia, and that's where his connection to the mafia ends. Left alone, Beth begins to wonder how the police found out about her husband's infidelity, which she did not tell them about. She accidentally discovers a hidden camera in the mirror of her room, which probably recorded her conversation with Rob. Beth recalls that the detective often came over with Sebastian. Seizing a moment in the kitchen, she steals the keys to his apartment from the landlord. In Sebastian's apartment, she finds a studio with cameras that he used to monitor his tenants. Beth watches the footage from Friday and finds out that she was simply put to bed after returning from the bar. Meanwhile, Kate and the men moved to the bathroom on the balcony. When Kate went to the bathroom, the men stole her purse and fled the apartment. Kate ran outside after them, took a taxi, and gave chase. However, she returned in a different car with a distinctive sticker on the bumper. Suddenly, Sebastian returns. Beth tries to leave quickly, but he excuses himself by saying that he installed the cameras for security purposes. He starts to delete all the recordings, but Beth stops him. When Sebastian regains consciousness, Beth runs out of the apartment and meets Zane. On the way, she tells him that the owner of the apartment was spying on the tenants, but erased all the records. Now she may also be charged with assaulting her husband. After writing down the license plate number of the car Kate used, Beth and Zane go to the taxi company. The TV is already reporting that she is wanted. They find the driver who gave Kate a ride. He says he only took her to the police station. Suddenly, the police officers called by the taxi company's boss show up, including a detective. Beth recognizes the car with the sticker on the bumper, and the chase begins. When she breaks away from the chase, she talks about the detective's car, which may have something to do with Kate's murder. Zane decides to distract the cops. This only partially works, and the detective continues to chase Beth until he drives her to the roof of a building. Beth screams that he killed her friend because he wanted to have fun with her, and Kate turned him down. In response, the policeman calls Kate a bad girl. However, when his colleague appears, the detective accidentally falls and goes to the other side. In the morning, the other detective reports that they have managed to recover some of Sebastian's records and viewed several street camera footage. She comes to the conclusion that the detective really wanted to follow the girl after she reported her bag missing, but when she refused, he inflicted a head injury on her and threw her into the water. To Beth's surprise, the detective explains that his colleague used to work in the morality police, where detainees often complained about his behavior. However, they all later withdrew their complaints. The detective also reports that Matteo and Luca were found in possession of an illegal drug that they had slipped to their victims. But in the case of Kate, the drug did not work because of a pill she had taken before. Beth says goodbye to Zane, thanks him for his help, and returns to London. After the divorce, she allows her ex-husband to see their daughter occasionally. On one of these days, Beth asks Rob to return her car keys. Rob offers to look for them in his jacket pocket. When Beth looks in there, she unexpectedly finds a stone that had fallen out of Kate's necklace, which she had received in Croatia. The girl goes to the restroom and calls the detective. However, she is interrupted by Rob. Beth immediately accuses him of Kate's murder, showing him the stone from her necklace. The man has to confess. He says that he was afraid that Beth would find out about their affair, and flew to Kate at night to ask her to keep it a secret. Kate, as it turned out, really demanded that Rob leave his wife. But that was only because of a one-time fling, he became obsessed with her and constantly demanded to see her. In Kate's opinion, such a man was unworthy of her best friend. During the quarrel, Rob pushed Kate, and she hit her head on a rock and fell into the water. Now Rob was begging Beth not to turn him into the police, claiming it was an accident. To this, Beth shows him her phone, from which a detective's voice says that everything was recorded, and the police have already been called. As a result, Beth fights off Rob's attempts to stop her, leaves his apartment, and takes the baby as police cars approach.